What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast. Happy Hour Hoops, back with you, Steve, Jake, and myself, here to talk NBA, all things NBA, and a little bit of a college basketball primer before we get into the real madness of March and the tournament. But, guys, we have to start with the biggest story of the week. It goes Wilt, Bam Adebayo, and Kobe Bryant. Bam Adebayo had 83 points against the Wizards Tuesday night, and everyone is losing their goddamn minds. Where are we at with the Bam stuff, gentlemen?
When you think of pure scorers, you're thinking Bam Adebayo. I think it's incredible because this is going to be in the record books. This is going to be something probably people will look 30 years from now and be like, oh, that's right, Bam's two. Bam scored 83 in a game. And it just happened randomly, right? A random Tuesday night in a Heat Wizards game no one was caring about. I think he had 43 at half, but sometimes we see guys go off in the first half. We're like, all right, pretty cool. We'll see what they end up with. And then it got a little interesting at the end, Dunny, when all the eyeballs turned on the Heat Wizards game of how he got to 83. Me personally, 83 points is 83 points. Like I get he had, I think it was 36 free throws made. I get that they were taking fouls while up 20 to the Wizards to get him the ball back. I get that the Wizards were triple teaming him and he was just flying right into him, drawing fouls, trying to get to the free throw line. But at the end of the day, 83 points is 83 points. And you can't take that away from the guy. And a guy who really isn't known to be a pure scorer. He's been great so far this year. I think he had like 6 20-plus games coming into this, but kind of a random name. If you would have gave me a laundry list of all players in today's NBA and be like, all right, rank them of who's going to pass Kobe for second all-time in points, I don't know how many names it would have taken for me to get to Bam. 50, 60
I was
names.
Gonna say, if you were to get, like, if it was odds before the season, like, he would have been like plus 500,000, like 500,000, like 50,000.
Great player, just not a scorer like that.
No.
I don't think he would have been the first. I think 50. You might be able to get to 50 names before you get to Bam.
I think you could get to 50. I think you could get to 50.
It's a long list. It's a long list. It's crazy, dude.
I think it'd even be closer to 100 because you start thinking about those like guards who aren't as talented but just chuck, like the Cam Thomases of the world, like
CJ McCollum.
Right, like those, and then like you think about shooters, like guys like even like, I don't know, maybe this is a little Celtics bias, but like any sharpshooters like Pritchard, Hauser, like those guys who can just hit a bunch of triples and maybe they just keep hitting. Truly just like iconic for so many reasons the other night. Of course, it was a Tuesday night against the Wizards. I was talking to you guys before we hopped on, like watching that game on League Pass. I wasn't choosing to watch that game. I turned it on when he had like around 60. And just for the record, I'm with you, Steve. Like I was enjoying it. When he was getting closer to 80, me and my roommate were watching it. We wanted him to get there. We knew it was going to be a little silly. It got a little silly. For the people at home wondering or aren't that tuned in or don't care, this was the official shooting splits or box score, I guess. God. He was 20 of 43 from the field, so that's not horrible. 36 of 43 from the free throw line, and 7 of 22 from three. So the 36 of 43 from the free throw line, those are both most free throws made and most free throws attempted ever in a game. And I like this little nugget that one of my Celtics mutuals put on Twitter. The Celtics team hasn't attempted 43 free throws in 10 plus years. In 10 seasons, the Celtics haven't attempted 43 free throws as a team, and Bam Adebayo did that one lonely night against the Wizards. So, and of course, the Wizards head coach came out and said the fourth quarter turned into not a real basketball game, which again, like if you were watching, it absolutely was silly. But the Wizards also suck, and that's kind of why they were able to do that. If the Heat were going up against a good team, that wouldn't have been possible to have the fourth quarter that they did. Where are you guys at with the major Kobe stands coming out and saying it was a disgrace and he should have wanted to sub himself out? There's even like some players that are saying it's disrespectful and doesn't have as much weight. Like I can't even imagine a player who played in the NBA has that take, because I would imagine any player who has a chance to break any scoring record, especially if it's in the fucking 80s, is going to go do that.
Absolutely. I have nothing against Bam staying in the game to try to get it. I have nothing against the Heat force feeding him the ball. I have nothing against Spoelstra like trying to get him as many opportunities as he could to get to 83 points. And obviously he's going to be exhausted. The shots aren't going to go in like they did in the first quarter. Like he's getting triple teamed. He's getting fouled like crazy. But in order to even get into that spot where you have a chance to pass Kobe, right, where you have a chance to get 80 plus points, you have to be going off at some point in the game, Dunny. You can't just be playing the free throw game the whole time. I mean, Bam, he had 31, I think it was in the first quarter, 43 at halftime, 61 through 3. Like, he was going off the entire game. Of course, he's going to be exhausted, and the shots aren't going to be as efficient at the end. But is Bam ever going to get even that close to 60 points in a game again? Probably not. So if he's that close, why wouldn't he go for it? Why wouldn't he try? Like, I don't understand why people are upset. They're like, oh, this is an unethical way to get it. Dude, he's playing basketball. He's getting triple teamed. He's getting fouled. He did all the heavy lifting in the first half, and that's why in the second half he was able to go to the line as much as he did. Like, and if you put any other basketball player in that position that's Bam's in, of course they'd want to go for it. Like, I don't understand. It's just people being upset. And I'm so tired of it that everyone has to be a hater now. That anytime there's a sports record broken or there's some crazy play or there's some, wild, point scored, rebound, whatever it is, right? Across any sport, people just want to hate and make excuses. How about just once, in the past like 10 years, can we just be like, yo, that was sick? Like, we just saw someone score 83 points, and the guy who did it was a center who really only developed an outside shot, in the recent years, and someone who we never imagined would be in this position. Why can't we say that? Why does it always have to be the opposite way of discrediting, trying to discredit? You know what? You go ahead. You could try to score 83 points in a game. Like, it just frustrates me because we're now, when something crazy happens, it's no longer appreciating it. It's making excuses. And of course, like, obviously, I would have liked to see a little less free throws at the end. But does that ruin the game for me? Does that ruin the night Bam had? Absolutely not. Dude scored 83. You know how many other people in NBA history scored 83 points? One. And people don't try to say that one may not have even happened. So.
Yeah, I know. That's the funny thing, is that there's no fucking real video of Wilt scoring 100, and people are up in arms about the way that Bam got 83.
That is the main reason that everybody should be okay with Bam cheesing and doing whatever. He's breaking the real record. Like, we know Wilt didn't actually score 100, so 81's the record, bro. Now he's got the record. And think of that, like, the people who are mad, if he was doing it to get to 101, like, no one would be mad. They'd be like, cool. Like, it's reframing. I feel like the Kobe part of it comes into it a lot because there's still a lot of Kobe fans out there, obviously, and where there always will be. And they are a strong fan base, always have been since Twitter existed. Like, there's Twitter lore about just arguing about Kobe Bryant on the internet. Like, so I feel like it was a combustible thing where everything that we laid out, like, how did it end up being Bam? The way he ended up getting it, Dunny, the setting and the atmosphere at the arena and the vibe of everything, and passing one of the most beloved players in NBA history. It was a perfect chemistry experiment to see how people would, exactly what you said, Steve, like, hate on one of the most incredible feats we've all ever seen in the game of basketball.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because drawing the comparisons or saying it takes away from Kobe's or it doesn't have as much weight as Kobe's, it's like that's fine then. Like that, I think like that like
Yep.
two things can be true. Like Kobe's was more impressive. He didn't have to take 43 free throws to get there. I saw something that Devin Booker's 70-point game and Luka Doncic's 70-point game, their free throw attempts combined didn't exceed Bam's, which is crazy. But it's just like it's so separate in my mind. Like I didn't watch Kobe Bryant's 81-point game, but like that's still special. Like it doesn't 81 points for Kobe is still fucking insane. There's still going to be rap lyrics about Kobe's 81-point game. Like that happening isn't going to just disappear now from the history books. And Bam doing it is incredible, regardless of how silly the last couple of minutes of that game looked. Fouling the Wizards to get the ball back is pretty funny, and that's not usually what basketball looks like, but it's a meaningless game at the beginning of March for a team that it was going to win the game anyway. So I don't mean meaningless. Like I know the Heat still have something to play for, but they were going to win that game regardless if Bam had 83 or if he had 23. They should have beat the Wizards that night. And the Wizards suck. So Bam took full advantage and wanted to break a record, and he did it. Coach Spoelstra, before the Heat game tonight, he came out on the podium and said, I apologize to absolutely no one about
As
Tuesday night. Right. He owes no one an apology. It's crazy. So it seems like we're all pretty aligned here. It's just so funny, like you said, Steve. Like nothing cool can happen in sports without half the sports world just being pissed about it.
I do think we're at a breaking point with NBA fans, a lot of NBA fans, about free throws in general. And just how the guys that take advantage of how the game is called. Because it's been like 10 years of it now. And I think there's some people, I know there's some people, there's basketball fans in my life who are just like, it just can't stand it. Like just like can't stand SGA. And I love SGA. I think SGA is talented without doing the free throws, but you're also smart. Why would you not be trying to do it? It's the most exactly. Now it's everybody. But that's, I mean, I get it. Like to a certain extent, I get it. But also like, that's just what the game is. It'll like these things always go in cycles. I can't imagine this is just what basketball is going to be forever. Like they're going to have to make some, I feel like after this year, they're honestly going to have to make some adjustment because I just feel like the discourse has turned. And that's the one thing I see about the Bam is like how many free throws Bam got in the game. And it's like, well, what is he supposed to do? Like it'd be dumb to not be doing these things in a game because then you're not trying to win. Like that's what it comes down to. So I don't know. I think we don't have to talk about it at length here. It's a larger philosophical decision for what the league needs to do with the game going forward. But I just think it's irking people and whatever that's worth. It can't quantitate it right now, but it's definitely bothering people.
Yeah. And my final stance here is just like, I said it to you guys right before we started recording. If this was anyone's favorite team or anyone's favorite player and they had 60-something after 3 and had a chance to break Kobe's record, everyone would be rooting for their favorite player to stay in the game and get these points however they could. And obviously that's what Bam did. Silly threes were getting chucked up. He was getting triple teamed. He was still trying to drive to the hoop. And he got there and he scored 83 points and no one could take that away from him. He had a nice moment after the game with his mom and his girlfriend. So it was dope. I don't really have, I understand people saying that it was silly and it looked weird and there wasn't real basketball. Sure, it wasn't, but the Wizards suck and the referees allowed him to shoot 43 free throws. So that's who you should be mad at if you're going to be mad at anyone. That's where I stand on it. Anything else on Bam, guys?
Nah.
I did see someone last night here. Someone posted on Twitter later that night or maybe even the next morning that they had under 22.5 points for Bam.
There was, freezing cold takes on Twitter. Yeah. They retweeted someone's play of the day was Bam's points and rebounds under like 33.5 or something. It said there's blowout potential in this game. He didn't do much last time he played the Wizards, so they got the nice retweet. That's tough too, man. There's being cold on betting, and then there's like calling an under and having the guy just erupt.
That's why you
his
don't.
second
That's why
most
you
points
don't.
ever.
That's why you don't bet unders because you
Right.
don't want to
Yeah.
be betting against something cool, bro. Like you just gotta just hope for something cool.
I remember one of my buddies who like he never bets unders, and he had one like this was a couple years ago, like a 7-leg parlay where he put one under in it, and it was James Harden points because Harden had just been passing or something like the whole past couple weeks. Harden had like 27 points at halftime, and every other over hit, and he was like, "I'm never taking it under again."
You can't. Life's too short.
Yeah, do it, dude.
Don't bet the under, folks. Shout out Bam though, really cool. And staying in the Eastern Conference here, I know it's been some time, but we haven't recorded since it's happened. And Jayson Tatum for the Boston Celtics made his return last Friday night against the Dallas Mavericks. He then played Sunday against the Cavs, and then Tuesday night against the Spurs. 14, 12, 7 on 6 of 16 shooting against the Mavs. 23 and 2 on 6 of 16 shooting against the Cavs. Those were 2 wins. And then in a loss against the Spurs the other night after Jaylen Brown got ejected in the first half, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 10 to 24 in that game. All 3 of those games, he's only played 27 minutes. So obviously on some sort of minutes restriction still. He's going to sit out tonight against the Thunder for some rest and kind of recoup to get back from the Achilles injury. I could go on and on about this group, but what do you guys think? Do you think the Celtics are the favorite with Jayson Tatum back in the lineup in the Eastern Conference, or just kind of get a leg up from where they were? We still got to respect the Knicks and the Pistons and the Cavs.
I think Pistons have kind of proven that they deserve some respect this year, but I think we had this same conversation before, Dunny, and the possibility of him coming back and how the Celtics had exceeded expectations, how Jaylen Brown was playing at an MVP level. And I said, if Tatum's back by the postseason, you got to think they're the favorites to come out of the East. And we saw 3, games of Tatum already. And I will say, and Dunny, you can touch on this more, but the efficiency wasn't really there, and at least in the first half against the Mavs game, looked like the shot was off a little bit, but he was still cutting pretty well. I liked how he was jumping when he was getting the rebounds and everything too. He was moving fine, and the Celtics have shown that they can be a contender without him. And that was the big question mark of where are the Celtics going to be if Tatum doesn't come back this year or when he does. And everyone else kind of stepped up. Like I said, Jaylen Brown was playing like an MVP level, but so many other guys on the team stepped up. And now you get Tatum back, and he's played 3 games. He's going to get more. I'm actually a little more, bullish on the Celtics now because he came back before. I thought he was going to come back at the playoffs. I thought they were going to bring him back right at the playoffs, maybe right before it, and get him in there. But he's going to have a handful of games to get reps and to maybe increase that workload, the minutes, until the playoffs start. And so it's hard to argue that the Celtics shouldn't be the favorites. I know the Pistons are playing tough. The Pistons are playing great. But if you're asking me right now, 7-game series, am I taking Detroit or am I taking Boston? If Tatum's playing, I'm taking Boston.
Jake, probably a little more difficult question for you to answer. But
this is not difficult for me. Now I'm flipping it back. Now, if they don't win the East, it's a disappointment.
There we go. Spin zone.
This is easy.
Spin zone. Yeah, exactly. I do think Detroit is probably going to be the toughest test just because of the physicality they offer and the Duran matchup as much as anything, because he's just going to – not that he's going to take advantage of Keita and Garza all the time, but if you're looking at where the weakness is on your team, like that's what it's the big rotation of anything else. So that's a tough matchup just because of how good Duran's been and what Cade and Duran can do. But the Pistons – like they don't have another guy outside of Cade who can really do much with the ball. And I feel like defensively in a series, Missoula figures them out. And you can't trust the Knicks or the Cavs. Like, I'm sorry. Like there's just, again, the same, it's honestly a little bit of a similar thing with the Knicks and the Pistons with me, with Brunson being just, and they have a little bit more shot creation and have some guys that can do that on their own. But it's really a Brunson show. And I think that, even the way that series was going last year, the Knicks were, hanging tight with the Celtics. I like this version of the Celtics better right now, honestly, with the way Brown has been playing and adding Tatum into this mix. And we don't have to talk about the Cavs today. Like I'm so ready for the Cavs to just flame out in horrific fashion and it all to be traumatic and terrible and everything. Like I'm at the point where I'm like, where's Jared Allen? Like he's too good for them to be gone and don't want Evan Mobley on the team. So they're a mess, bro. They could get caught if we have to play the Hornets. The Hornets we should be talking about the Hornets over the Cavs, honestly.
Dude,
Bro,
I'm afraid of the Hornets, man.
Yeah,
I went to a Hornets Celtics game right before Tatum came back that same week, the Wednesday before he came back, and they absolutely smoked the Celtics.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
good.
Dude,
Brandon Miller looked like prime PG, dude. It was insane. Con was hitting everything. LaMelo,
they've got
Diabate
everything.
is unbelievable.
Diabate is one of the most underrated players in the NBA because he's just given the Hornets what they need for that starting lineup. Just tough defensive rebounder, but he can run with them too. He's super athletic, super long. And then you just got 4 guys who could just be buckets whenever they want around him. It's crazy. LaMelo's not even missing time. He's playing every night. He's not even sitting out.
Well, I think he's like, oh, we're winning basketball games. I can
I have a team now.
This is great. All that being said, go ahead, Dunny.
No, I was gonna ask if you back to the Cavs a little bit. Did you watch the Sunday Celtics Cavs game at all?
I was driving back, so I didn't get to see much of it. I watched the bad part of the game, the first half, and was just like, I'm not wasting my phone battery on this anymore today, and then followed along on my phone the rest of the way. But yeah, Dunny, they're cooked, bro. I don't know what to tell you. They're chopped
It was
up.
it was just so weird to see that from that group, especially because the core of that group, obviously Garland's gone. You do the Garland for Harden swap, but the core of that group just got up for those Celtics games the past 3-4 years. And that we've had some battles, and all the games in Cleveland have been tough. And Mitchell usually shows out, and they definitely made it way closer in the second half. But and I know you guys were missing Allen, but it was that first half was definitely. I definitely saw some of the things that you're saying right now about the Cavs. And it's just so weird too because right after the Harden trade, they were absolutely rolling.
Well,
couldn't be stopped.
Mobley wasn't playing, and Allen wasn't, and Harden and Allen got instant chemistry together, and it gave Allen a confidence boost. And I think Mobley, if you that little part of Evan Mobley you watched, not a confident basketball player right now. He knew he was in trade rumors, I think, too. He's coming back from an injury. He just looks lost as a guy. And if he's doing that, like, he's a liability. Like, we're in the group chat, people are like, we have to sit Evan Mobley in the playoffs. Like, he can't be out there at the end of games. Like, that's where we're at. It's wild.
Can't be doing that.
So, but anyway, we're talking about Jayson Tatum, and I do want to talk about Jayson Tatum because the whole point of me running through all the contenders was that nobody can match up to this Celtic team. We've known this for years, that nobody can match up to them when they're healthy. In this Eastern Conference, that when the Celtics, we didn't know about Tatum earlier in the year, we were like, oh my God, who's going to come out of the East and they're going to get destroyed by somebody in the West? Now I'm like,
Giannis is going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, like now I'm like, I mean, it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to pick any of these teams against the Celtics in the 7-game series. And Tatum, Steve, you talk about it, like his jumper's not quite there. Like you can tell he's still like getting into the flow of things in the offense, like figuring out. But yet but the athleticism, this is not what a guy that looks like coming off this injury is supposed to look like. He really looks like it's not 100%. You can tell he's kind of not gone full gear yet. Like he's shifted down a peg or two for right now, but he's moving so fluidly. Like he can still, like, when he switches on to guards and stuff, like he's staying into where he needs to be and everything. It's really impressive. And that was an awesome reaction from Celtics fans when he first came back and he finally hit that jumper, and just the eruption. It was like, it might as well have been a finals game. So it just, the boost, I can't imagine what the boost is like for that team, just the fact that he's on the court.
Yeah, speaking of that Friday game against the Mavs, like I think I watched that entire game standing up in my girlfriend's apartment. Like didn't really sit down until they kind of had the game wrapped up and Tatum checked out. But it's funny, like 14 and 12, and like near triple double first game back in 27 minutes. I thought the best he's looked was against the Cavs, actually. There was a few times where he attacked Mobley and just like kind of went right at his chest, and it was like, that's vintage Tatum going to the cup. Um, only three rebounds, 2 assists in that game, but just as far as his scoring and his confidence, and hit a few mid-range jumpers, and then the Cavs actually made a late fourth quarter push, and Tatum hit a dagger three. Granted, it was wide open, but just seeing that, and I think it was more so the way it worked with the team too, because Jaylen Brown also had a super impressive game, and you talk about the season that JB's having, MVP candidate. Can't say he's the front runner, but he's definitely up there. And you're talking about an MVP guy who's getting a all NBA guy the last 4 years put back into the lineup next to him. Like, JB's been working with double teams all year, and now you can't double either of those guys when both of them are on the floor. So it just makes everything that much easier for the other scorers on the Celtics. And I think that's why he struggled a lot more. I know he had his most points in the Spurs game, but it looked like he really struggled in that second half. But I think it's because JB was ejected, and a lot of pressure was put on JT the third game back after an Achilles tear in that second half. So he definitely didn't look himself. But that Cavs game was super encouraging. So, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I think fully healthy, if we have Tatum, Vooch comes back, maybe him and Garza are sharing minutes come playoff time. But I think the Celtics have the best chance to win the East, and not discrediting the Pistons, because I do think they're legit, but in the last couple of weeks, they've shown they're human, right? They lost 4 games in a row. They bounced back against Brooklyn the other night, but did not think the Tatum return would happen necessarily at all this season, and I definitely didn't think it would happen like this. So he'll sit tonight against OKC. Probably, I had dreams of the Celtics getting the 1 seed there for a minute, but the loss to the Spurs, and then I'm hopeful. We'll see what happens at OKC tonight, but back to 3.5 games back, still doable. But the Pistons would have to have another pretty ugly skid. But yeah, I mean, if it's how it wraps out right now, would be Celtics Raptors if the play-in goes accordingly in the first round, and you got to think if it's a Raptors, Sixers, Hawks, obviously not the Hornets. I don't want to discount them, but if it's any of those 3 other teams in the first round for the Celtics, like, you don't even really have to push Tatum to come back too heavily in that round 1 series either. So good things for Boston right now. I'm just happy to see Tatum back out there. It's crazy that he's back in this season. It's supposed to be a gap year.
Don't think that's going to be the case, Dunny. I mean, you've got to be on cloud 9 right now. Like, you never, like, this is like it's got to be fun. And honestly, just kudos to Jayson Tatum they had a plan. Like we've talked about before, there was a plan to be that conscious, to have a plan in case the worst case scenario happens, to then allow this to happen. It's all because he's so thoughtful and such a professional that he was prepared to attack this even without knowing that it was going to happen. Like, getting the surgery immediately, getting the type of surgery he did, jumping into rehab right away, and now he's accomplished an incredible feat to be back. It's wild to see.
And shout out fucking Joe Mazzulla, man. Like, this is just an insane year. There's the famous phone call, famous among Celtics fans. He had a phone call with Derek White this summer when Derek White was golfing. He just called him and told him, "Hey, everyone thinks we're gonna suck this year." And Derek White was just like, "All right," and he was like, "I love that," and then just hung up the phone. And that's the epitome of Joe Mazzulla right now, or just in general, and the Celtics are rolling, man. I try to say it too every once in a while with all my crazed Celtics tweet. I do try to mix in how blessed of a basketball fan I am, and not just from the organizational standpoint, but just these 2 guys, like the Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum being on the same team at the same time, being able to watch these guys. It really is just like, it makes the viewing of your favorite basketball team that much better. And I try to not get caught up in, hyping up my team and being too much of a homer, but actually just appreciating these 2 guys who the media more or less have tried to split up like their entire career. So just having a ball watching these guys and want to make sure I don't sound like too much of an asshole when I'm talking about how good the Celtics are. But yeah, I know that kind of sounds like an asshole in itself, but I do mean what I said there.
Absolutely not, Dunny. This you gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy it. Like this is it. This is one of the most. I really think this is like such an incredible story for like if Tatum comes back and if they can make a run. Like this is. I mean I know he has been documenting it. So if they do win a title, that documentary is gonna hit like crazy.
Oh,
it's gonna be nuts.
Wild.
Can you imagine? Like, but I'd feel good about the East right now. I'd feel real good about the Eastern Conference if I were you. The West, I don't know about whoever comes out of the West. Who knows? I think the West honestly is pretty. I mean, we're gonna get into it, I guess, but it's more wide open than I thought at the beginning of the year. That's for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it because I just mentioned Celtics played the Spurs the other night. They're playing OKC tonight. Those two teams, man. The Spurs are looking dangerous. OKC, obviously, defending the title this year, trying to repeat 51-15, best record in the league. Spurs, not too far behind at 48-17. Right now, before we talk about the rest of the West and who can go to the finals and all that good stuff, gun to your head, if one of these two teams is going to the finals, I don't know why I put the West Finals in our docs. If one of these two teams is going to the finals, OKC or Spurs, who is it in your guys' mind?
Oh.
I'm taking the Spurs. I am. They've won me over this year. I mean, I was high on them coming into the year, but just seeing them when everything's clicking, when everything's healthy, and Wemby's just getting better game after game after game. I think he had 8 threes the other night when he scored 39. Like,
yep.
Stephon Castle's a superstar. De'Aaron Fox looks like this team is this. They're just so good, and they run. And the one thing I love about the Spurs, and it's similar to kind of OKC last year, but every single game feels like Game 7 NBA Finals to them. Like the emotion they show and everything. They love playing for each other. And, the NBA, like I know we were talking about the Thunder's potential dynasty, and obviously they're going to be one of the best teams for like the next 10 years. But the NBA has kind of had a little bit of turnover the past few years. We're not really seeing the dynasty like we did earlier on. A lot of new teams emerged, right? You had the Bucks season, you had the Nuggets season, you had the Thunder season. Celtics, obviously, they're always there, but man, the Spurs, they are good, and it just feels like this could be a year where they just make that run. Now, with that being said, I think there are a lot more teams besides the top 2 in the West that still have legitimate cases, but I'll take Spurs over Thunder. Why not?
I like it. I'm still picking Oklahoma City. I'm still going with Oklahoma City because I just have to see if Jalen Williams can get healthy before the playoffs, because if he joins his team and looks good and he's healthy, it's just a dynamic that really hasn't been in those Spurs matchups and really haven't seen all year. And this Thunder team has still been lights out and incredible. Obviously, and I think they got a little ahead of their skis at the start of the year when they're started the year so hot and they're talking about winning all the games they're going to do and everything else. And then you're getting the best. Then once you start talking, you're getting the best shots from teams and everything else. But this team's still just so good. And I'm just going to take the experience of I defer to the experience of just doing it over the team that's there for the first time. But I wouldn't be surprised that if the Spurs were to be the team who's holding the Larry O'Brien at the end of the year, because everything you said is true, Steve. They're just Wemby blossoming, Castle blossoming, Fox doing what he does. Like they're perfectly built. They play with such effort. They're so hard to come back. Like when they get a lead, it's so hard to try to come back against them in a game, to claw your way back in. But I really just hope we get a series between these two, and I hope that Jalen Williams is playing in it, and I want to see 7 games of it, because I think it'd be one of the best basketball series we've seen in a long time with the level that these two teams are playing at. But I'm going to stay with OKC. And also because I genuinely, last year I didn't believe it, this year, I genuinely believe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserves MVP and is the best player in basketball. Like he just is a like the queen of the court out there when he's like can do whatever he wants. He moves in any direction. Yes, the foul baiting is annoying for anybody who does it, but if he didn't need to do it, he would just be a lethal mid-range shooter anyways and a lethal three-point shooter and have all the other skill sets that he has to be effective. I think he's been the best player again this year, and I hard pressed to bet against him because he's nails when it comes down to it in the playoffs, and we haven't seen it from the Spurs just yet.
Fair.
So, all right, well, my pick would be the Spurs. I do have an MVP take in there too, but mine's the Spurs, and it's come on recently, but also something the proof has kind of been in the pudding all season long too. They're 4-1 against the Thunder this season, which that in itself is pretty incredible. I'm with you, like the J-Dub thing's definitely a factor, and I think no matter which of these two teams you pick to go to the finals, like I don't think there's really a wrong answer here. They're both incredible. So me picking the Spurs isn't me being a Thunder hater or thinking that they don't have a chance to get to the finals. But just watching the Spurs the other night, man, especially Wemby, like you said, Steve, he hit 8 threes. He was 8 of 15 and still shot 55% from the field. So he shot 15 threes, being 7'4", and still was able to shoot 55%. He does everything, and just him being out there. Like you talk about Jayson Tatum being out there and what that means for the Celtics offense and defense and what the other team schemes up. Think about what you have to scheme up for a guy like that. And then
you can't
going
scheme
down,
anything up for him.
No,
that's
you're screwed. That's what you scheme. You just you pray that he doesn't hit 8 threes, and sometimes he's capable of doing that. And then you just go down the roster, man, and like guys like Harper, who had a pretty unbelievable rookie campaign. And unless you're watching the Spurs games, you wouldn't know that because the box score is not going to tell that story. But he is such an unbelievable athlete and good basketball player. And then you got De'Aaron Fox, who has been a sneaky like addition to this team because again, he's not really in the news all the time, but he's capable of having 30-10 games. Like he had one last week, and he does that sometimes. He's still one of the fastest guys in the league. And then you keep going down. Stephon Castle is one of the best young players in this league. He's had triple doubles this season. He's had 40-point games. He just knocks down open shots now like it's nothing. Go one further, Devin Vassell, same thing. He just knocks down open shots. Go one down further, Keldon Johnson, like not as talented as those other guys, but you have to worry about him on the perimeter. They have vets like Harrison Barnes. They have good backup big men like Luke Kornet. Like they just have answers to everything. I know OKC, you could do the same thing and go down the list. These are both excellent teams, but that X factor in Wemby and the Spurs being younger and they didn't go on a title push last year, it's so hard to repeat in this league. And that's a big factor for me too. So I would take the Spurs to make it this year. I think the youth, the Wemby X factor, the shot makers, the defense, they have it all, man. And it's a pretty incredible season from the Spurs. They've actually been probably my favorite team to watch outside of the Celtics this year. So that's why I was even more mad about Jaylen Brown getting ejected Tuesday night. I kind of just wanted a more competitive game. But yeah, these two teams are unbelievable. I will say one thing about the MVP. I think Shai could wrap it up, but I think it's possible Jaylen Brown has something to say tonight. If Jaylen outplays Shai and the Celtics win tonight, I think the MVP case for Jaylen Brown is still on the table. I'm not saying he would take like the betting favorite after tonight to be MVP, but I think Shai nearly has it wrapped up. But I think that's the only thing that could possibly sway voters.
That's fair. It's a big moment. It's a big game. He's no Tatum.
In OKC, no Tatum, outplays him, beats OKC. Obviously, it's a big ask.
I was gonna say, and asking SGA to not put up like 35, 8, and 7 himself, no matter what.
SGA is also probably going to break Wilt Chamberlain's record tonight of most consecutive 20-point games. He would need 127 consecutive games. He's at 126 right now.
Insane.
It's so crazy, dude. He's so fucking good. And then Wemby,
4 years in a
I
row,
don't.
averaging over. Crazy.
I still
Go
think
ahead.
there's gonna be some people voting for Wemby for MVP. I really do.
Yeah.
But Shea should be the favorite. I don't know if it's necessarily done yet, but it's pretty close.
I mean, Jokic can get back there too if he starts just putting up those
Yeah.
juggernaut box scores final month of the season. The crazy thing about the MVPs, the top 5 candidates, they still all got to play pretty much every single game to end the year, or they're not going to be
Yeah.
able to win. So yeah, Jaylen Brown. I mean, there is a path if these, not rooting for injuries, but I'm saying there is a path. The top 5 guys, all 5 of them are very close to not having enough games to be eligible. So we'll see.
Cade's close. And, talk about Cade, who was a guy who was right there all year, and then that 4-game skid for the Pistons. It's crazy how much these things shift. But, yeah, Cade, I think, he's under 10 games that he can miss. Shea's under 10. I think Jokic is only allowed to miss 1 more game.
Yep, 1 more. That's why he's playing every night.
Yeah.
Luka can only miss a couple. And Shea can only miss a handful. It
is crazy not to bring up Luka. And I know the Dallas year, he definitely got, Steve, we don't have to tell you he got shafted.
That year's tough. He doesn't deserve it this year, but once again, he's just putting up ridiculous numbers.
Exactly.
He's got the narrative next year once LeBron leaves too, because it's been all about Luka and LeBron this year. Next year it'll be all about Luka and his team. So
well, let's get into the West a little bit before we talk college ball here, because we kind of gave the listeners who we think could win from the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we just said who do we think is going to get to the finals between Spurs and OKC. Those are just the most likely outcomes. But looking at the Western Conference standings, the Lakers being tied for 3rd in the West, it's pretty damn impressive, man.
It is.
Considering where we were at, right around New Year's, when Reeves was hurt and LeBron, wasn't playing that much, and the drama with LeBron and Luka, which is still there, not between the two of them, but it's kind of like the Jaylen and Jayson thing that we are talking about earlier. The media wind horse every other week is just saying how much better they are without LeBron on the floor. And there's some truth to that when you watch some of the games. There's definitely, they've been rolling and LeBron's been sitting. They're the owners of three wins in a row, so tied with the Rockets right now for 3rd in the West. Like I said, do you guys think the Lakers are legit contenders this year?
I'm gonna say no, and the reason I'm gonna say no is that I don't think the Lakers can beat OKC or the Spurs in a 7-game series. And they would need, obviously, both of those to lose before the Western Conference Finals, because I think they can beat any of the other teams in a 7-game series, but I don't think they can beat OKC or San Antonio. When I look at a team like Denver, or I look at a team like Minnesota, or even a Houston, where I'm like, you know what? I think they could give a series to OKC. They could give a series to San Antonio. The Lakers, I just feel like I just don't think they have enough. Now, I don't want to ever doubt my guy Luka, and it's very hard to look at a team with Luka and LeBron and say they're not, true contenders to come out of the West. In my personal opinion, I just don't think they match up well against OKC or San Antonio. And if you don't match up well against the 2 best teams in the conference, it's hard to say you're a legitimate contender.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just don't think they have enough. They're not the team that they really want built around Luka. I don't know what you're getting from Luka and LeBron in a playoff series together. I think that could be hilarious, honestly, to see what would happen at the end of a close playoff game with those two. So I just think it's not this mix with this team, with the Lakers here. I don't really see them as they're not one of the teams I think making it wide open, honestly.
If you guys had to pick a 3rd team in the West that you feel most confident about between I guess it could be anyone, but I was going to say between the Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers, and T-Wolves, I'll throw them in.
It's the Wolves for me still. I just
the
think
Nuggets for me.
There we go. I think and I'll let you go here quick, Steve, but the Wolves, I talked about it I think the last show too. trust the battle testedness of them. I still really like the group that they're in. I like the effort that they give. And when you just said it, Steve, too, and the Nuggets also fall into this category, like who can you see winning these playoff series against these teams? And we've seen that the Wolves be in it with all these teams. So I really still, I don't know. I just feel like when the Wolves break through, it's going to be like a year like this. I don't feel like they're ever going to be one of these end-to-end number one teams in the conference or anything else, but they just are so scrappy in battle that I'll give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the Nuggets. I've said this all year long. I think this is the most talented team Jokic has had around him, and I know they've dealt with a couple injuries, but they should get a couple of those guys back come playoffs. So Peyton Watson is a huge one that I think would be a big help for them. Nikola Jokic still, to me, is the best basketball player in the world, regardless if Shea's going to win, a second straight MVP, obviously, and the Thunder won the finals last year. I still think Jokic is the best basketball player in the world. And if you're telling me I get the best basketball player in the world with a really good team around him and a team that has experience and has won before, it's hard to count them out. And not only, how well Jokic is playing this year. When he was out, when he missed time, Jamal Murray stepped his game up. And even when Jokic has been here, it's been Jamal Murray's best season as a pro. And I almost compare him a little bit to what Jaylen Brown's doing, Dunny. A little different, obviously, because Tatum's been out the whole year. But this is Jamal Murray's best year. It's his best season so far in his NBA career. And we've already seen Jamal Murray do it in the playoffs. We've already seen Jamal Murray, show that he has that championship DNA. We've seen Jamal Murray step up in the clutch. And then we saw it this year when Jokic came out, Murray stepped up and we saw what he's capable of. And now to have, those two together, I look at that Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic 1-2 combo. How many teams 1-2 combos better than that? I know, Dunny, you're going to be like, well, if Tatum's fully healthy, I'm taking JB and JT all the time, which is completely fine. I get that. And, Thunder fans could argue Shea and J-Dub when J-Dub's healthy. But really, realistically, how many 1-2 punches are you taking over Murray and Jokic, especially the way Murray's been playing this year? And I just like the role players. And I always think, too, the Nuggets just play better against the better teams. And I think that's important, kind of similar to where Minnesota, they kind of play up to their competition. I think Denver does the same. So I'm not going to doubt them yet. And my God, man, if you look at the Western Conference standings right now, we could have some absolutely ridiculous second round matchups here. It will be just a war where, honestly, you might have to give advantage to an Eastern Conference team in the first couple games in the NBA Finals because they may win in 4 or 5. When I'm looking at the Western Conference and I'm looking at possibility of the Western Conference Finals and the Western Conference Semifinals all going 7 games.
Yeah. Even some of these first round matchups could be crazy.
Yeah.
If we get Rockets T-Wolves, KD versus Ant again, that's what it's lined up to be right now. And obviously, between the 3 seed between the 3 seed all the way down to the Suns at the 7 seed, there's 2 games. There's 2 games separating those teams. So it's pretty incredible stuff. It's weird. Part of me wants to say that the Lakers could be the 3rd biggest contender. I think I'm with Steve though, and going to say the Nuggets just for the Jokic factor. I think they're getting healthy kind of the right time. I know it's a cliche sports term to say, but Aaron Gordon just came back.
Yep.
Peyton Watson's on his way back. Christian Braun should be back for a playoff push. I think they're kind of set up as a better team, but the Lakers, I know, I'm not trying to go full windhorse here and say that it's because LeBron's sitting, but I actually think it could be a positive for them that LeBron's sitting. Get him some rest before the playoffs. I mean, LeBron's playoff resume speaks for itself. I don't really need to dive into that. But you have Luka, one of the best players in the world, and then suddenly their defense is pretty damn good lately.
Yeah.
They really bothered the Knicks last weekend on Sunday. I don't really know where that came from. Marcus Smart kind of.
You want me to give you my answer?
LeBron's not playing.
LeBron's not playing.
But it's Reeves and Luka, they're playing close to 40 minutes a night. And they're these guys who are thought to be zeros on defense, and it's working.
I think I can't wait till Braun leaves to see the articles that come out afterwards. I think that I think it's been rough back there between Luka and LeBron. And I think the Lakers are clearly on Luka's side here. They have to be. So LeBron's never had to deal with this, and he's been known to pout when things don't go his way. That's all I'm going to say. Leave it there for my guy.
How crazy is it that none of us even sniffed the Rockets in this conversation?
I was going to say that. Yeah, I just
You know what bothers me is it bothers me just in general that Jared McCain ended up on the Thunder because they don't deserve that. How is a team like the Rockets not offering the Sixers at the deadline like Tari Eason and like a young forward and one of those picks? Like I know they gave up a first and a second. How are the Rockets not doing, take a future first or a future second and a guy like Tari Eason or something along those lines and going out and getting it? Like if Jared McCain was available, like I don't understand it. Reed Shepherd's good. He's a good scorer, but like they just so clearly need another guy who's comfortable handling the ball in situations and just taking pressure off KD and can also score. Like it's just so clear when you watch Rockets games is that's what they're missing. Obviously, they've had some injuries as well, but they just rely on Kevin Durant so much. Amin Thompson's not all the way there yet as a 3-level scorer.
I would have loved to see.
It's disappointing.
I would have loved to see what they looked like if Fred VanVleet would have been healthy in this season.
Yeah.
Like their record might be with the Spurs and Thunder at this point. Because you're right, you're exactly right. Like they've been trying to figure it out. And Amin's been good. I think Amin and Steve, you talked about it last time. We talked about them too. Like he has stepped up a lot and taken out a lot of it, but he still has a ways to go. And they could just use. It's the same thing I worry about with the Pistons. Like they could just use, like you're saying, one more guy. And I don't even think it needs to be a high level guy, but just another guy to handle the rock when you're playing. Especially you're the Rockets, and we're talking about you're going to have to go through 3 rounds of teams of all who can win the NBA title right away. Like you're going to get caught. Your flaws are going to get exposed somewhere along the lines. And I feel like they're the team that has the most flaw. I don't know. The Lakers I kind of have the Lakers and Rockets in a lower tier than the Nuggets and Timberwolves when it comes to the playoff, what I think they can do.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there.
That's kind of like the way that my brain is sorting it out. And I don't even know what to think about the Suns. Like they're just, I can't believe they're still hanging around.
I don't know what to do.
Devin Booker will show out. He'll have one big game in the playoffs for sure. But we'll see.
All right. That might do it for the NBA talk for the episode. That was our who we can see kind of making it to the finals. East, I think, oddly enough, has some more question marks. Like it seems like both of us are saying OKC or Spurs for the West, and then we have the other teams that are kind of have a backseat. East is just still a little weird because we don't really know where the Tatum stuff goes with the Celtics. Pistons obviously just had that 4-game losing streak. Knicks have been weird all year long. And then the Cavs without Allen lately has been interesting as well. So
they also employed James Harden.
Yes,
which is still.
That is true.
I read it. No, I'm reading Shea Serrano's book. It's Expensive Basketball just came out, and he had a footnote. He's talking about James Harden. He's a big James Harden hater, and it was as of 2023 in 370 whatever the amount of it was. James Harden has made, in the amount of playoff games, he's made 3 go-ahead shots in the fourth quarter and overtime in the last minute. 3 of all the playoff games he's played in, he's made 3 go-ahead field goals in the fourth quarter, final minute of a fourth quarter or overtime.
That is almost unbelievable.
I read it like 4 times. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like. And it would have been funny to read like a month ago. Of course, I had to read it like 2 days ago. I'm like, awesome.
Not great.
Sick. That might have been what put me down. Like when the moment that convinced me that the Cavs are cooked was reading that little stat. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like that's all I need to see.
Talk about a sad stat, man.
It's pretty amazing though. Like we talked about Bam getting 83, but then James Harden to have 3 go-ahead shots in all of his career is just as impressive.
Crazy.
That's wild.
We'll see. We'll see with the Cavs and Harden and all the rest of these teams really getting to that heat up spot in the NBA season. Some good action tonight. Celtics Thunder. But Steve, we're gonna give Steve the keys here a little bit on the pod. Kind of a college basketball expert. Me and Jake haven't been as caught up, and Steve is always locked in on college hoops.
Yes, sir.
So what do you got? Give us a little summary of who can win the Natty, who can win March Madness, who can maybe go dancing, some players to watch, wherever you want to take this.
So I think we just got to start with the best teams, obviously, right? Catch you guys up a little bit. It feels like to me right now that we're gonna have a chalk Final Four, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Which I have always said the best tournaments are the chaos at the start. You know, a lot of upsets, a lot double overtime games, back and forth, and then give me like the 8 best teams. Give me those juggernaut like Elite 8 matchups. Give me a juggernaut Final Four. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think there's just the 4-1 seeds that I think they're going to be the 4-1 seeds are just far and away better than everyone else in college basketball this year. And that's Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and right now Florida. I think the final 1 seed has been between Florida and UConn. UConn kind of had a better record and was a little bit better at the start of the year. Florida's looked as good as Florida looked last year in these final two months. So right now, the biggest thing is if you're filling out your brackets, and I know we'll do a happy hour hoops bracket, and we'll probably pick a team that'll get upset in the first round. Although last year we did get it. Last year we ended the happy hour hoops curse of the losing first round to the Gator Chop champs. So we pulled a Virginia. We lost in the first round the year before, and then we had our team cut down the nets the following year. So good for us. But this year, I really think you got to pick at least 2. I'm probably going to have 3 of the 1 seeds in my Final Four. And it's just they've just been that much better analytics-wise, eye test-wise. They're just bigger than everyone else. They're faster than everyone else. And we'll go down the list. We'll start with my least favorite team because I just dislike them. But Duke is really good. They're really good. They're probably going to be the number 1 overall seed unless they get upset in the ACC, because then I think there's a path for Arizona or Michigan that'll have a couple more potential, bigger wins if they win their conference tournament. But Duke's number 1 overall seed. They got Player of the Year Cameron Boozer, who's incredible. He's unbelievable. I don't know how much you guys have watched Duke so far this year, but Cameron Boozer's a man playing it amongst boys right now. He's so good. He's efficient from the field too. He's averaging up almost 23 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. He leads Duke. It's actually funny if you go to Duke and look at like player stats. I think he leads them in pretty much every relevant offensive category you can find. I mean,
Steve, I know you hate comparisons, but I'm going to throw one at you anyways because I've watched a little bit of Duke, and the guy that he reminds me of is a guy we've talked about a couple times on this podcast already, and I want to hear how you think about it because he looks a lot like Cade Cunningham sometimes out there, not in the fact that not in how much he dominates the ball in college, but that he can do anything you ask of him in any game and has done so this year.
Yeah, he can. It's funny because I was talking to a coworker today about it. Is the bigs now have to do everything, right? If you want to be a big in today's game, you have to do everything. So it's kind of crazy that you're, comparing Cameron Boozer, who's 6'10", this type of big.
Cade's a big boy, and it's kind of like it's like the build of them too, for sure.
but Cade is, in college, he was pretty much a true point guard, right?
Yeah.
He was compared to Luka because he was like, oh, we got another big point guard, like a physically big point guard. So it's a weird comparison a little bit, but I get what you mean. I mean, Cameron Boozer, like I said, he can do everything. He's comfortable handling the ball. Like he can back you down. He can shoot from the outside. He can do pretty much everything. They don't run the offense like too much like through him from the start, which is actually worth note because Duke did lose one of their guards, Caleb Foster, for the year, which it is a big loss. That means potentially though that Caden Boozer will probably get more time, and who knows what we could see out of him. But you'll have probably both Boozers playing on the court at the same time, significant minutes in the
CBS
NCAA
is going to love that. There's going to be so many Boozer family graphics up. Oh,
that one Shining Moment commercial is going to hit like crazy when it shows the two brothers.
But I mean, Cameron Boozer, like whoever you compare him to, Jake, he's going to come in the NBA and be a star right away. This guy's unbelievable. There's nothing he can't do. The one thing that's worth noting about Duke before I move on to the other teams, they play slow. You look at Duke and you look at the scores of their games and you look at their offensive efficiency and you're like, damn, this Duke team's good. But they want to grind you to death. I think they're 294th in tempo this year. Like they just want to grind you, and then they'll get the easy baskets on the other end of the court. They have so much size. They're gonna dominate the glass, and I think that's the theme with the 4-1 seeds this year. They just tower over everyone. And as a short king myself, it's hard to admit it, but basketball is a tall man's game. And these four teams, like they're finding out that, like, hey, if you just get big guys that can kind of do everything, you'll be all right. And that's kind of where I land on Duke. They're gonna, if they win the ACC, which I think they should, they'll be the number 1 overall seed. And even if they lose the ACC, they'll still be a 1 seed. And you know how Joe Public is when they look at the tournament bracket. They see Duke on the 1 line. They're writing them, penciling them into the Final Four, potentially the championship. I can't really argue against it. I hate Duke, so I'm going to try to find somewhere to where I'm like, oh, this team could upset them. This team could give them a game. Their only losses on the year, they lost to Texas Tech, and then they lost to North Carolina on the buzzer beater, which I'm sure you guys remembered that game. I mean, Carolina, Duke, I don't care how much you watch college basketball. It's must-watch TV every single time. But, yeah, Duke, number 1
The game most
seed.
recently, too, had some pretty good drama, even though Duke ended up winning big, but it was an entertaining game for sure.
And Carolina just didn't have the talent that time, right? They lose Caleb Wilson for the year. You have another one of your top guards out. It's tough. It's a tough situation there, especially going to Duke for that game. But the first game, Carolina Duke, with UNC's the underdogs at home, man, that's just popcorn, man. But
the only thing I want to say about Duke, Steve, real quick, and
yeah, of course,
it's great too because you kind of laid out what my eyes were telling me with these stats here, as far as them playing slow, and then just the breakdown of Cameron Boozer. Because one of my favorite things about Boozer is watching Duke. It almost seems like when they do get late shot clock, which it seems like they do a lot, especially if they're playing slow, like they just give the ball to him and they're just like, go get us a bucket.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if he's standing, 30 feet from the basket and he's comfortable. He almost has like a very like slow, like methodical spot up jumper, but he can shoot over guys.
Yes.
And it's wet. You have here, he shoots 40% from 3. And then even if they give it to him on the wing, late shot clock, he's like, all right, I guess I'm just driving through 4 guys and I got a tough finish in my bag. So it's just that part of Duke is so fun, where they just have that guy where, like you said, they don't necessarily always have the ball in his hands, but it's going to find him late clock and he's going to do something special.
It almost reminds me a little bit of like a Pascal Siakam, where you can give him the ball like in the paint and he'll back you down. He's got great post moves, but you could give him the ball outside the arc and he could just pull up right there, or he could take one step and a pull up jumper. I mean, he could do everything, Dunny. And obviously, as NBA fans, right? A lot of NBA fans watch this more than college basketball. Dude, the draft class is going to be insane. And this year, the college basketball draft class is stacked, but more so the top top 12 potential picks right now in the first round are all guys who are going to be playing in the tournament. Like, this is going to be one of the best years for like getting ready for the NBA draft to watch in postseason basketball in the tournament. I can't wait. Cameron Boozer obviously is one of them. He's going to be either the first, second, or third pick. I don't think he falls lower than that. It's going to be great. Speaking of NBA draft, you got Arizona. Arizona's got a couple fun freshmen that'll be drafted pretty highly in the NBA draft with Braden Berries and Koa Pete. But they also got the Big 12 Player of the Year, which I disagree that he won Big 12 Player of the Year. There's a reason for that. But Jaden Bradley, an Arizona man, all year long they looked like probably the best team. Them or Michigan, and then Arizona ran into a couple back-to-back losses in the Big 12. They kind of figured it out from that, but my God, this team just wants to beat you by 30. And what I love about Arizona, what makes Arizona so unique, because they play so fast. They're such a good rebounding team. They're deep. They're big. They don't like to shoot the three. Like, they almost refuse to shoot the three. And they've been shooting it a little bit more in the past couple games. But this team, I think, was 354th in the country in three-point attempts. And when I look at a team like that in the Steph Curry basketball era, that's 354th in three-point attempts, red flag goes up in my head. Like, oh, my God, like they're not going to shoot the three. What happens if they get down big early, right? What happens if you run? It's March Madness, right? You run into a Jack Golke Oakland hot shooting team that can't miss, right? And Oral Roberts, Max Abmas shooting the lights out. What happens in that situation? Doesn't matter with Arizona. Doesn't matter. And the best part about Arizona, for a team that doesn't shoot the three that much, for a team that's as big as they are so, and plays as fast as they do, they are so good defensively. I think they're 7th in the country in opponent field goal percentage. And they have the most 10-0 runs of any team in college basketball. For a team that doesn't shoot the three that much, right? To lead in that stat is mind-blowing. And just watch an Arizona game. They played, I think, UCF today. UCF is a solid team. They just run on you and do whatever they want. Tomorrow, guys, must-watch game. Iowa State, Arizona is going to be one of the best semifinals in the Big 12 conference tournament tomorrow. I can't wait to watch that because Iowa State's another team, not going to be a 1 seed, but they legitimately have a chance to make a run. But Arizona, I mean, what can you say about them, right? They're a deep team. They're one of the tallest teams in the country. They swarm you on defense. You can't score on them. And at the same time, they're sprinting up and down the court and scoring on you. And they're not doing it from outside the arc. They're doing something we haven't seen a team do in 10-plus years, and that's dominate without a three-pointer. It's crazy.
It's nuts, dude.
So Arizona, other 1 seed. And then it's like next 1 seed, I gotta go with Michigan, because Michigan, to me, I think is the best team in the country. Michigan is just so balanced, and they're just physically stronger and bigger than everyone they played. Yaxel Lendeborg is one of the best players in the country. You talk about, Boozer, who can do it all for Duke. That's pretty much Lendeborg for Michigan. And on top of that, he might be one of the best defenders in the country. They got a guy named Andy Mara, who's a 7'3" pure shot blocker. So good luck. Any team that's trying to upset Michigan, going in the paint, scoring on him. They got great guard depth. I know they did lose LJ Kaysen for the year, who is, he was kind of an outside shooter, nice scoring guard off the bench, but Roddy Gale should step up a little bit more there. Roddy Gale, local guy too, Niagara Falls. Shout out Niagara Falls, Roddy Gale. But Michigan, there's nothing this team can't do. They're probably going to have 4 or 5 guys get drafted potentially in the first round. I mean, Michigan they're so good. They're so balanced. They're so deep. They're so strong. And it's the classic, like these top 4 teams, what are their holes? You can find a little thing about each of them, right? Arizona doesn't shoot the three too well. Michigan and Duke both lost like a guard to injury. That's it. They're all good defensively. They're all good offensively. They're all big. They all get rebounds. They all force turnovers. So Michigan right now would probably be my national champion If you asked me right now, Steve, pick one team who you think is going to win the championship, I'm pretty sure I'm going Michigan.
Why Michigan? Why would you pick them over the other ones?
So eye test is number one. Michigan has
Steve. That's why I love you, bro. Because that's what it should be. If you would have spouted off like something about their effective field goal percentage, we wouldn't be on this podcast. But you're like, no, I watched them and they're fucking dogs.
Dude, they beat Gonzaga by 40 this year.
That's true.
One of the most impressive ones was Illinois.
My buddy actually went to that game. It was at the Garden. He went to that game when he was in New York City. He bet on Gonzaga at halftime. He's like, they can come back. They got it.
They don't got it. Another one was Illinois. Illinois might be a 2 or 3 seed. One of my favorite teams. They're another team that has so many guys that are probably going to play in the NBA. They have a great freshman in Keaton Wagler, but Michigan made them look like school children, guys. They beat them by 30. Michigan had beat Michigan State in both matchups this year, and Michigan State, is a team that I think is very good, probably going to get a 2 seed. And the games were close for a little bit, but I watched both those games. You never felt like Michigan State was legitimately a threat to win. Michigan did lose to Duke. Now, they did lose to Duke this year, neutral court. I believe it was in D.C. It was their worst shooting game, and it still came down to the final possessions. And it's one of those, their only other loss was against Wisconsin, where Wisconsin's guards just went absolutely nuclear. I just think you have to do so much right to beat Michigan. And in terms of like the 4-1 seeds, right, Duke, Arizona, Florida, and Michigan, I think they have the least amount of holes. Now, these teams don't have many holes at all, but I really do think Michigan is just like the perfectly crafted team. Losing LJ Casson's going to hurt a little bit, but with a team like Michigan's size and depth, they can make up for it. And then the last one seed we got to talk about. Dunny, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this because the Gator Chomp was good for us last year, Dunny. The Gator Chomp was good to us. We loved Walter Clayton, one of the most electric players in college basketball the past 15 years. Finally starting to get some minutes in Memphis. We love to see that, right? You had Richard as well, went to the Warriors. They had a great team. And Florida struggled a little bit this year. And when I say struggled at the start, they just weren't beating the top of the top teams. They were fine, but they weren't beating the top of the top teams. And it was because of their guard play, right? You got to replace a couple guards to go to the NBA level. It's going to be tough. But they've gotten better, right? Boogie Fland and Lee have gotten a lot better as the years gone on. They've shown that they can handle the ball. They've shown that they can be pretty good guards. And Florida brought back the 3 bigs from last year, Dunny.
I was going to say, they're pretty massive.
Condon, Chinyelu are all back from the championship run last year. So that's experience, that's size, right? That's championship, DNA right there. Those 3 guys, they're so good defensively. They are just get every rebound. I believe Florida is the best rebounding team in the country, to no one's surprise. I mean, when you're playing 3 guys like that, you're going to get all the rebounds. Haw has been one of the best players in the entire country this year. Florida is great. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is with Lee and Boogie Fland. They've gotten so much better as the years gone on. I'm not discrediting them there, but they are very inconsistent outside shooting for guards. I think they're both below 30% from 3, if I remember that correctly, which is scary. And they've gotten better as the year gone on. And Florida's just killing everybody in the SEC, which that was one of the most impressive things for Florida, right? You talk about eye test, Jake. Arkansas was looking like a fun team. Darius Acuff, one of my favorite prospects coming into the NBA. Arkansas was playing great against everyone. They lost by 30 to Florida. Wasn't even close. It wasn't even a close game. And I just think these, 4 teams are just a step above everyone else. Florida, though, the red flag, like I said, is the guards. Inconsistent shooting on the outside with the guards. Will they step up like Walter Clayton stepped up last year? I'm not so sure, but the eyes don't lie. Florida looks dominant. Florida is big. Florida is fast. And Florida's ready to defend the title. And you asked about a month ago, they were probably on the 4 seed line. Now it's if they don't lose early. And honestly, even if they do lose in the SEC tournament, I think they still get the final 1 seed. So it's going to be a fun tournament. I think all 4 of these teams have a legitimate shot to win. Would I be shocked if it's an all 4 seed Final 4 or all 1 seed Final 4? No. And if you gave me the line right now, if you said over under 2.5 1 seeds in the Final Four, I'm gonna take the over. I am. I'm going to take the over. That's not to say there aren't fun teams, right? There aren't on the one line. Like I love Houston. Houston of every year, right? They have some good guards. They have just great stretch forwards. They play great defense. They force turnovers. They get rebounds. They have probably their most talented guard they've had with Samson, with Kingston Flemings, who's another guy who's going to be a lottery pick. That's the best thing about this, guys. Every good team in college basketball has a freshman lottery pick this year. It's going to be so much fun. Love Illinois. Iowa State's a great team too. You got the sleeper teams, Arkansas, Alabama, Wisconsin. But at the end of the day, and we'll dive into that more, I think, when we go through the bracket.
Yeah.
But the end of the day, it's these 4 1 seeds, man. If you haven't watched college basketball at all this year, just turn on the conference tournaments, tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, and watch these 4 teams just play competitive, playoff style basketball, because they are a joy to watch. College basketball's been one of my favorite years so far this year. Number 1, because of these top teams. Number 2, because of the freshman talent. And then number 3, the bubble's the weakest bubble I've ever seen. So the bubble picture changes every single night. It's absolutely pure chaos. And all the bracketologists out there, Joe Lunardi, all the guys at CBS that say they think they know who's going to be in, who's going to be out, they have no idea. These resumes are so all over the place. It's spitting on a wall. You have no idea. The only thing I will say is Miami, Ohio at 31-1 should be an at-large. It'll be egregious of a team that went undefeated in the regular season, doesn't get in. But other than that, on the ball picture, do whatever you want. And then the last thing, I gotta bring up my guy AJ Dybonsa, right? I'm not gonna not talk about AJ Dybonsa. BYU can't play a lick of defense.
Nope.
Can't play a lick of defense. They lost Richie Saunders, their second best player for the year, who's probably going to go to the NBA as well, which hurts. But it has unlocked something in Mr. Dybonsa. 40 points in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. I think he had 29 last night. He's battling with Houston right now. If there's one guy in college basketball that can carry probably a 6-seed BYU to a Sweet 16, Elite 8, or even further, it's the best player in the country, AJ Dybonsa, the guy who should be the clear-cut number 1 pick in the NBA draft this summer. It should be the guy that everyone's talking about. I call him Kyrie, Kawhi, Tracy McGrady hybrid, because that's how I feel about him. He's got skills from all 3 of those guys. He can do it all. He's an efficient scorer. His post moves, driving to the lane, are ridiculous. He's got playmaking too. He can handle the ball. The more difficult shot, this is the Kawhi thing, right? The more difficult shot, it feels like the easier it is for it to go in. I don't know how far BYU is going to go, because like I said, they're not that deep. They got a couple guys, and they don't play a lick of defense. But my word, man, you got to watch AJ Dybonsa. You just have to watch this guy play. You just have to.
So he's got 16 points in 19 minutes, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and the BYU Cougars are up 5 points on the Houston Cougars right now.
He's so good. He's so good.
It's crazy, the Peterson-Dybonsa debate all year, and it looked like Peterson was about to run away with it until they played each other, and then Peterson didn't play that second half, and then that's when shit kind of started to get weird with Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
I wavered for about a week on Peterson maybe being the number 1 pick there.
Yeah, you did. I didn't like that either. I did not like it. He was sending messages in the group chat. I was like, Dunny's not someone who overreacts to one game or something. He's a large sample size guy. And I didn't want to say it in there, but I was
Massachusetts
pissed.
guy too.
I did
AJ's
not
a Massachusetts guy. No. But no, I'm with you, man. Like he's got the size, and then you mentioned like if you're a hybrid of those 3 guys, you're doing something right. So I'm with you. I would love to see.
He's gonna score like 22 points a game next year in the NBA, bro. It's gonna be absurd. He's
so good.
It's like when people were talking about Paolo coming in, like, oh, everything's finished. He's a guy, but like 10 times. No offense to Paolo, but like 10 times that.
his game's built for the NBA.
Yeah.
The way he plays is built for the NBA. He thrives in isolation. You talk about how good Shea is at drawing fouls.
Oh my God, I know.
Gabanza could come into the league and be the second best at drawing fouls. I'm not even kidding. Like, he's just so smart with his post moves and just getting guys in bad positions, right, where he can cause the contact, put it up. And I don't even know how many he's made, but it feels like every game the dude makes 2, 3, 4, and 1s. I mean, he's so good. He also has, I believe he has the wingspan of a guy who's 7'3".
That's crazy.
Like, he's built in the lab, man. I can't wait to watch him play. Obviously, it's been fun watching him all year, but it's a little different, right? When you get to the tournament and everyone starts watching these guys, and that's what I said from like people who only care about the NBA. This is the tournament to get into because all of these teams, all of these relevant teams, just have draft prospects. Just look at the NBA mock draft. Just literally just Google search NBA mock draft and look at the first round. And like 26 of them are from major conferences in college basketball. It's unbelievable.
It's nuts, dude.
It's crazy. You know what else is crazy? Just to bring this back to the NBA a little bit here. The Indiana Pacers, as it currently stands, have the worst record in the NBA. If the Indiana Pacers get AJ, man,
dude, like they're
AJ with Hallie feeding. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, Mavs though. You want to keep tanking Mavs? I'm not. You don't even have to get number one. Just get a top 3 pick, Mavs. Let's just say you want to take a little bit.
If they got back-to-back lottery dubs, dude, that'd be insane.
But I will say too, like, obviously the top 3 everyone's talking about, right? Dibanza, Boozer, Peterson. Dude, you get a top 9 pick, you're getting a guy who's making an impact right away.
Yes.
Acuff, right? Mikel Brown of Louisville. You've got LeBaron Fillin for Alabama. I mean, dude, like Wagler for Illinois. Like, these guys are studs.
Is
Caleb Wilson,
Lendeborg,
UNC.
is he a senior?
I believe he's a junior. I think Lindenberg. I believe he's a junior.
A little older,
but he'll be in the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy, man.
It's been so much fun this year. I tell you guys all the time. I'm like, yeah, dude, I've just been locked in.
You have been locked
in on college basketball this year. It's been one of the best years to watch, like I said, especially for someone who loves it for the prospects of like guys coming to the NBA. Man, it's highlight reels every night with these dudes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been super entertaining, man. And like you said, it might sound chalky to have some of those. One because they're bigger name schools. 2 because they've been the best teams in the country all year long. But they are that talented. They have these studs who are gonna make NBA impacts right away. So there's reasons that to pick those guys to make the Final Four and then everything in between, like you said, like the team like BYU has a guy like Dibanza. Keep your eyes on him, and should be a really fun tournament, man.
I'm excited for the Happy Hour Hoops bracket, man. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to see what we cook up.
We got to try to repeat, man.
We're defending the title right now, man. It's hard to repeat. It's hard to repeat.
We're like the Thunder right now, man. Come on. We got to pick a winner. But that'll do it for another episode of Happy Hour Hoops. I hope you guys liked the little college basketball warm-up heading into March Madness during the conference tournaments. Obviously, tons of NBA still to happen before the playoffs. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.